Hello, how is everyone doing? Today, we will be going over the circle and the square. So, without further ado, we'll go over the significance of the circle and its importance throughout Egyptian culture. In ancient Egypt, the cosmic creative force, Ra, is written as a circle with a dot or a point in the center. It is a circle moving in a circle one and solitary. The circle symbolically represents the absolute or undifferentiated unity. So, what we also will notice is the symbol of Ra, the circle within a circle, is also the symbol of the sun. As well, many people know, Ra is directly reflected as the sun, right? And in conjunction, Om and Ra is practically one. But specifically, we see how the circle is represents Ra and the sun. The sacred circle of Ra must expand from the center outwards in order to create the space that results from the Big Bang. The expansion and later contraction of the universe is regulated by the circle index, the relationship between the diameter and the circumference of the circle. The circle index is the functional representation of the circle. It is the ratio between the circumference of the circle to its diameter. It is popularized by Western academia with the Greek letter pi and given a value of 3.141597 into the infinite. The circle index and the neb, golden proportion, were seen by the ancient Egyptians not in numerical terms, but as emblematic of the creative or generative function. One cannot just reduce a process or function to a meaningless, unmeasurable value and then call it an irrational number. The ancient Egyptians were not interested in abstract number gymnastics. The Egyptians built their capitals with 9 elements and occasionally with 7, in addition to 6, 8, 11, and 13-sided polygons, because they knew the properties of the circle and its relationship to perpendicular coordinates and other geometric figures. The Ennead and the 9 circles. So here we have a hierarchy of the 9 that are the important of the Ennead, of the 9 circles. In the ancient Egyptian texts, the initial act of creation produced the Ennead, the group of 9. The 9 aspects of the grand Ennead emanate from and are circumscribed about the absolute. They are not a sequence, but a unity, interpenetrating, interacting, interlocked. They are the generator of all creation, as symbolized in Horus, who, according to the Lydian papyrus, stanza number 50, is the offspring of the 9 times unity of Neturu, gods and goddesses. So we see Horus is the final of the hierarchy that we see here, right? So this plays a good role in understanding how things come from the microcosm to the macrocosm. Understanding the Ennead and the 9 circles allows us to connect with the macrocosm. Horus is also associated with the number 5. 5 is the number of the cosmic solids, polyhedrons, tetrahedron, cube, octahedron, dodecahedron, and icosahedron. These 5 solids are formed from within 9 concentric circles, with each solid touching the sphere which circumscribes the next solid within it. These 9 circles represent the 9 unity of the Ennead, the generator of all creation. So when we see a cell, or when we see the separation of cells, or the zygote separating and cells becoming multiple from 4 to 8 to onwards up to 64 cells, this separation of the cells, or this tree of life, or the flower of life we see that is stemming from the icosahedron, is directly stemming from these 9 circles that were created. Now, squaring the circle. In all ancient Egyptian mathematical papyri, The area of the circle was obtained by squaring the circle. The diameter was always represented as 9 cubits. The ancient Egyptian papyri equate the 9-cubit diameter circle to a square with the sides of 8 cubits. The mystical squaring of the circle represents the relationship between Ra and Tahuti, or Thoth. The number 9, as the diameter, represents the Ennead, the group of 9 Neturu gods who produced the ingredients of creation. The 9 are all aspects of Ra, the primeval cosmic creative force whose symbol is or was the circle. So as we say, these are all aspects of Ra. This is also coming to the conclusion that everything is deriving directly from the sun. Everything is coming from the rays of the sun. Everything that powers, gives life, feeds the earth is coming directly from the sun. So this aspect of Ra is also understood. The primeval cosmic creative force whose symbol is the circle within a circle. The underlying metaphysical patterns of the manifested universe are represented in the relationship of squaring the circle. Ra and Tahuti conceived and manifested. Tahuti transformed the creation concept, symbolized in a circle, into a physical and metaphysical reality. Such transformation is reflected in the ancient Egyptian process of squaring the circle. Now this ideology of squaring the circle, right? Tahuti transformed the creation concept, symbolized in a circle, into a physical, metaphysical reality. This is the same process that happens between men and women today. Think of men as Ra and women as Tahuti. Men have the idea, or the sperm. We give this idea or sperm to the woman gets fertilized, and then they bring a physical, metaphysical thing into reality. They bring it into the cosmos, right? This is the same concept of squaring the circle. This is the same concept of duality, men and women coming together, sun and moon coming together, night and day. The duality of chaos and order coming together is also present in the ancient Egyptian process of squaring the circle, when it coincides with Ra and Tahuti. The area of a circle with 9 cubits as its diameter is 63.61725. The area of a squared circle with 8 cubits as its sides is exactly 64. The difference from 64 minus 63.611725 is 0.38. Such a 0.6%, which reflects the ancient Egyptian consideration of a slight deviation from the manifested word from perfection. So, in many concepts, 6 is considered the first perfect number because as we see the divisors, this gives it its perfect number. If you add up these divisors, it will say that 6 is the first perfect number because no other number will allow the divisors to add up to this until about the next number. But 6 is the first one. 6 is the number in which many Torah, Bible, etc., they will tell you that God created the world, created man on the 6th day, right? So they consider 6 to be a very harmonious number, right? It is very important to recognize the numbering behind this as well, okay? A good example of this slight imperfection is the orbit of the Earth around the Sun, which follows an elliptic shape and not a perfect circle. Musically, the ratio 8.9 is the perfect tone. The ratio 8.9 equals 2.332. This is the perfect relationship between the reciprocals of 2 and 3 to their reciprocal powers of 3 and 2. So 8.9 gives us that perfect harmony in music. So numbers in music are always coinciding. Pythagoras knew this from a very early on, that the numbers always coincide with music and harmony. Everything is numbers, right? God gave us numbers in the Torah to allow us to understand how everything around us is practically code. Everything is a reflection coming directly from the black sun, or what we know as Saturn. So with that being said, guys, this has been the circle and the square explained. Feel free to like the video.